Well, we're talking about the Riley Gaines episode of Joe Rogan.
So everybody is worried about the wrong people. Everybody's worried about the feelings of the fucking boys who couldn't compete with the other boys and who now
are breaking records.
Are breaking records in the women's division.
Records that will never be touched again.
Never be touched again in the women's division because they couldn't make it in the men's division. But nobody wants to talk about the feelings of our daughters who have had their competitive careers stolen from them by these fucking substandard pieces of shit.
Well, again, you can't...
that couldn't make it on their own.
But again, just like we were talking about the powerlifters, I don't remember if that was before or after, but you almost can't blame that athlete, because the athlete's going to do what the athlete's going to do. It's all the
governing bodies.
It's all the people who have failed.
The governing bodies are the ones.
It's all the people who have failed the athletes that should be taken care of up to that point.
Yeah, that's
and it's
true.
Interesting to listen to, because we all know the headlines, right? And all this shit gets reduced to just political bullshit and talking points and stuff. But to listen to her just go through the story is fascinating. There's a lot of interesting things in there. First of all, she made a really interesting point. That the whole time, and until she tied Mr. Thomas, like exactly, it was an exact.
Oh, that's when they gave him
it was an exact tie.
They gave him the award,
and the NCAA official came up and said, "Well, we only have one trophy, and Leah's going to get the trophy, or Leah's going to pose with the trophy. We'll mail you yours."
And we're down to hundredths of a second.
No.
It was a tie.
It was an exact tie.
Exact tie.
It was an exact tie.
Within a hundredth of a second.
Within a hundredth of a second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's when this girl was thinking to herself, well, this is bullshit, and that's when she's realized that it was a problem. But the point that I'm getting at is the thing that she said, which was really interesting, which I think is important for everybody, is that she was waiting for somebody to speak up.
To do something.
A teammate, a parent,
someone in authority,
a coach,
to do something.
Not even in authority, just anyone. Like everybody just went along with it. She went. They put them in classes because of this one individual who wasn't even on their team, but they had to go attend classes for basically indoctrination. How to use pronouns properly. Yeah, and she had to attend these things, and they had to pass tests. And and not a single fucking person spoke up until this 21-year-old girl had to be the one to do it. And they're all pissed, obviously, right? Parents are pissed. People are booing fucking Thomas on the stage and stuff, but everybody's just along for the ride,
Nobody said no.
Yep.
Nobody had the balls to say no. That's what didn't get done. And now this, and we talked about this several times. And while the IOC and the NCAA and the UIL and everybody else involved in the administration of competitive athletics have not got the balls to say, no, we can't do this. They don't have the balls.
Yeah, right. But what are they all doing now? They're all backtracking on this shit because everybody's getting pissed about it.
Everybody's getting pissed about it. And finally but that's not balls. That's covering your ass.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what they're always going to do.
That's covering
They're always going to do the most politically and
most cover your ass
the
thing.
most expedient thing that's going to draw the most positive attention.
Cover your ass was let Leah Thomas compete, and now cover your ass is don't let Leah Thomas compete. And they're all a bunch of fucking cowards. Everybody on the IOC, the USOC, the NCAA, every other sports governing body is a bunch of fucking cowards. All of you motherfuckers are cowards. You're not doing your goddamn job, and you're throwing half of the population to the fucking wolves because you are a bunch of fucking pussies, and you won't say no. And you ought to say no, and you won't do it. And you're a bunch of fucking pussies. And that's just all there is to it.
Yeah, anyone.
Right? So what you're going to do here, and this is absolutely wrong, but the only thing that can now happen is that the women who should be in that division have got to stand up, put their shit back in their gym bags, and go out and sit in the chairs.
Which is what they should have done on day one.
It's what they should have done on day one, having realized that the authorities had thrown them under the fucking bus.
Yeah, who's going to do that though? That's been preparing and competing for their entire life.
You know, and you can't really blame the
it's
girl.
It's not on them. They're 20 years. They're 18, 19,
They're 18,
20 years
19,
old.
20 years old, and they don't understand.
The people who need to be taking care of them are their coaches, right? The people who are in charge of the individual teams, and they're not doing their fucking jobs.
No, they're not doing their fucking jobs. The coaches. If I've got a team with 30 girls on it, and my girls have now got to take one step back from first place just by default because somebody else without the balls let this guy come into the weight class, come into the division, and compete, then I don't have any balls either, do I?
Yeah, it's always the don't rock the boat situation.
It's the don't rock the boat kind of deal.
And you come to realize after the fact that it's an indefensible position, and they're just going to backtrack on everything they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just happens in so many countless areas. I mean, we all know what happened the last 3 years. Yeah,
it's just nauseating to see, and no thought is given to anybody except this guy who can't compete with the other guys in the men's division. He's the only one of concern. What about the girls that lost the scholarship here? What about the girls who've been training as long as he has? And in their division, under their rules, they're excelling, and this guy's a loser. So we're going to let him come in here and take some of the win? This is bullshit. This is complete, and you can't see that this is bullshit. Then you are a coward, too. You're a fucking coward. You're a fucking pussy. Because you will not do the right thing when it matters the most to people who trusted you to do the right thing. You have to say no every once in a while. Now, don't you? You have to say no. And if you hadn't got the balls to say no, then history is going to judge you. And that's just all there is to it. History is going to be the judge of your cowardly ass. All right? And especially you despicable pieces of shit at the national level of governing sports bodies that are allowing this to take place. All of you people are despicable cowards. Despicable cowards. There's not a strong enough term for you.
Yeah, imagine sitting by as you're watching all these. So another interesting point that I thought was interesting is Leah comes in and wins shatters the record for the mile, and then shatters the record for the 200. I mean, everybody who's ever played a sport understands that those are very different events.
Yes,
and they're won by very different athletes.
Yes.
But here you have one individual coming in first season and just smashing.
I'm not going to call him Leah.
I'm not going to do it. Smashing these records, and imagine being an official who is sitting down and codifying these records, or being a coach,
signing off on the timesheet,
being an administrator in these programs, and looking at that and being like, yeah, well, good job.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah. Work harder, girls.
Will.
Work harder,
your
girls.
New women's record.
Work harder.
Yeah, congratulations. Man,
Fuck me.
It's just.
It just
that's
goes to
where we really are. If we're that close to the end of one of the bedrocks of Western civilization, that facts matter. Well, a lot of other very bad shit is just around the corner. When facts no longer matter, then lots of other things no longer matter too. Okay? This just pisses me off so bad. My God. And see, so what we've done here is we've left it up to the girls themselves. We've left it up to the women to all get together and say, I've been training for this meet as long as you guys have. I've been training for this meet for 6 months. But we show up here today, and there's a guy cock and balls guy in a piece of women's clothing.
And it's not just 6 months; it's a lifetime
in our division, you know. But I mean, our meet prep for this meet today for 6 months. Not to mention my entire swimming career since I was 5.
Yep.
You know. And here is a guy standing in a goddamn locker room, a cock and balls male.
Yeah, when the girls,
like, I don't, and some brave girl says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to swim so bad today that I'm going to legitimize this guy's participation by standing at the side of the pool with him. I'm not going to do it. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take that over and over and over again until somebody finally realizes that this matters to more than just this dysfunctional guy.
When the girls complained about the locker room situation, they offered them counseling resources and education on being able to handle looking at male genitalia.
Being able to handle looking at male
God
genitalia.
damn. From a 6'2",
like that's the goddamn problem.
A 6'2" male.
I'll bet you that. I'm reminded that I need to tell you guys to join us this coming Friday for the next Starting Strength Radio. We're going to do a paper Q&A where you guys write in your inane ass questions, and we do our best to make productive use of that time. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. But there's no way to tell without your tuning in. Now, as usual, you can watch us on the network, or you can listen to us on all the podcast venues. Either way, we'll join you this coming Friday on Starting Strength Radio.